Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button to keep up to date with our latest videos.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Marcus and you are watching Roads Untraveled. Today in front of me is a little bit of a departure from our normal sports car shenanigans. This is the all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 Z71 Trail Boss. So the Z71 gives you four-wheel drive, and then the Trail Boss package gives you these red painted tow hooks in the front if that's your thing. As well, as you can see, this is a massive truck. Takes a little bit of learning. It comes with a factory 2-inch lift over the standard truck, right? It's got Rancho shocks all the way around. It's actually just kind of like a spacer lift on the truck, and it comes factory with these massive Goodyear knobby tires for off-roading, as well as some skid plates underneath for all your off-roading needs. Now, a few other things that come on all models of the new Silverado. Things like this electric tailgate, which make things a lot easier. As well, there's a button on the inside which you can hit once, brings it down, you hold it, it brings it up again. You get lights in the bed as well. The bed's actually 7 inches wider than the 2018 Silverado, which is a huge difference. Chevrolet says the complete volume in this bed is larger than their competition's regular bed. And this is the short bed. So you've also got a light here, as well as a backup camera. The light is obviously for hooking up your trailer, and you've got these nice kind of step-up side things here. I've got a pretty small boot, but it's got plenty of room, just extra little things like that. And obviously, the truck looks completely different. All this is kind of worthless unless it actually performs on the road. So let's get driving, and we'll show you guys what's up. First things first, so this Trail Boss is fitted with the 5.3 liter naturally aspirated V8 from the previous generation Silverado. It's got 355 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. Now, with the Trail Boss package, which I'll explain what that exactly adds to your truck a little bit later, but with the Trail Boss, you cannot actually get the 6.2 liter V8, which has, I believe, 420 horsepower and 480 pound-feet. So it's quite a big jump in horsepower and torque with that motor. But you can get that with a couple of the other models, the LTZ and kind of the high country model as well. So this is basically the most expensive Silverado 1500 you can get here in Canada from Chevy. This one is spec'd out, fully optioned out for $68,500 Canadian. It's a lot. I mean, trucks are expensive nowadays, which makes cross-shopping and research ever more important when you're making a big financial decision like this. So as standard, you do get a lot of cool new features on the interior here, as well as the exterior. The wheelbase of this generation is 4 inches longer than the outgoing model, which is quite a bit different. You've got a little bit more stability when you're towing, etc. You might not feel it right away, but trust me when I say, you know, a longer wheelbase truck, especially for towing and such, you know, just feels better. It's a little bit more stable, especially at high speeds. Let's go over the big elephant in the room here, which is obviously the way this truck looks. This is a drastic departure from the outgoing model. I don't know how I feel about it. When they first debuted this truck, the front end, there were a bunch of memes that came out online that were basically like triple stacking and just making the grill taller and taller, being like, when will it end? I mean, same with like this new F-150 here, F-250, big, like tall looking front ends. And Chevy went like a little bit far. Like, I think they took a risk with the styling, specifically on the front end of this car. It's very strange. It's a weird front end. It's kind of been growing on me a little bit, especially because the Trail Boss, the Z71 Trail Boss, comes with the black grille up there, but the lower trim models come with the chrome front end, which I personally think looks terrible with this newly redesigned front end. The front headlights are a little bit weird, so in combination with the new grille, it kind of throws me off. I don't think this is a very good looking truck, except for when you look at it from like every other angle. The side profile is awesome. The rear end looks dope, especially in this color, fire red, or red hot, actually, I believe it's called. It's kind of like an orangey red, very shouty. We've actually been driving around the 2019 Mazda MX-5 RF, and this truck gets way more attention and way more looks and way more compliments just because it is so new, so different looking, and especially this color is a little bit crazy. It's a bold choice to go with this. If you're just driving around town, there is so much torque, even with this smaller 5.3 with 383 pound-feet, which honestly isn't a whole lot for a truck of this weight and this size, but you're rarely over 2,000 RPM if you're driving for economy. So it's very relaxing, you know, you gotta be careful because you're a little bit higher up, but at the same time, it is fast. This is a fast truck, even with this smaller 5.3. Obviously, we've got an empty bed and we're not towing a trailer, so that definitely comes into play. The 5.3 liter really does growl, although it's nice and quiet on the inside. Steering's nice and light. It's very forgiving to drive around town. I mean, just specific for me, it's a little bit tough to get used to all this all this weight I'm carrying around, and not to mention all the fuel you will be burning. But there's a catch. Here's the thing. So with the 6.2 liter V8, it is standard to get cylinder deactivation. It can go down to as low as 2 cylinders. So on the freeway, you're basically running with 2 cylinders only, and thus you will get really good fuel economy for a 6.2 liter V8, or in this case, a 5.3 liter V8. It is an option to get cylinder deactivation on the 5.3 liter V8, but well worth it, especially if this is going to be like your daily work truck, or even if it's a weekend truck. You know, you don't want to have all of your cylinders unnecessarily running on the highway, and that seems like such a millennial, like 2019 save the world kind of thing to say, but it's true. If it saves you money in the long run, I'm all for it. I think the back of this truck looks great. It's nice and subtle. It's just got Chevrolet along the back there, kind of indented into the tailgate. Same color as the truck. It's not overly shouty as far as design cues go. Chevy has actually gone with a few aluminum components this time around. The entire truck is not aluminum yet, but basically anything with a hinge is aluminum. So the idea is, from the engineers over at Chevy, is that if it gets damaged or whatever, you can just replace it instead of attempting to repair the aluminum. So the tailgate's aluminum, all the doors are aluminum, and the hood is aluminum as well. So this truck is, on average amongst the trim levels, is 450 pounds lighter than the previous model. That's huge. So this 5.3 liter V8, the power and the torque go much further in this truck than the previous 2018 model. So it's a little bit tougher to justify the 6.2 over the 5.3. But like I said, with the Trail Boss package, you don't have the option actually to go with the 6.2. Either way, you will be spending a lot of money on gas with this truck, even with the smaller 5.3 and the cylinder deactivation. It's about $150 right now, at least here in BC, Vancouver, to fill it up. We do have the most expensive gas prices in all of North America for all time. Like, we just set the record for that, which is so depressing. Just to give you guys an idea and a state of where we live right now, that's just a side note, but you are going to be spending a lot of money on gas, maybe a little bit less if you live in the middle America or whatever, where gas is definitely a lot cheaper, or Alberta or something. But you do get pretty much everything you want for an off-road package, but at the same time, you get all the towing capabilities of like a good work truck, as well as a huge cab back here. So you get a little bit of both, which is kind of awesome. Like, if there's one truck to do everything, this is pretty much the closest you can get without going like a dually or a big diesel rig specifically for towing. I mean, rarely do you ever need to go above 3,000 RPM, to be completely honest. But the exhaust note kind of just begs you and like eggs you on to go faster and to go deeper in the throttle and to spend more money on fuel. Like, it'll just drink up fuel, but it really does have a great exhaust note. Yeah, it's a fast truck. With no other passengers, no other stuff in the bed, it is a fast truck. You could justify just like buying one of these trucks and sleeping in the back there. You can easily sleep in there, especially if you get one of those tents that's for the bed, or if you get the long box, or the long bed, then you can actually, like, you could literally live out of this Silverado. We're about to hit the gravel road, just a little bit of a logging road, more for the visual aesthetic, I guess, of showing this truck in an off-road environment. It's not our truck. I don't want to scratch this truck up, so we're not going to go haywire. We're not going to go up and do any crazy trail running with this truck. But that being said, let's hit the dirt and I'll explain a few more of the features that come with the Z71 package as well as this Trail Boss package.
Now, ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved Silverados. My family had a '93 Silverado that lasted 350,000 kilometers without a single issue. So the moment I had the opportunity to get my hands on the 2019 Silverado Trail Boss, I had to go for it. Now, before I get into it, I just have to say, I am not a big fan of what they've done with the front here. It almost looks like it was designed by Steven Spielberg for a Transformers movie, and I'm ready for it to turn into some big alien robot any moment. Like, it is a very, very unique design, to say it lightly. But you gotta give it to Chevy, because when you get inside, all the features that they put on the inside was really well thought out and was totally based on practicality. So let's hop in and take a look. So to start off with, as soon as you step inside, the first thing you notice is just how much space there is. Now, unlike the recent review we did on the Mazda Miata, or the MX-5, not only does this have one glove box, you have two. And if that's not enough for you, you have a massive storage right here with a really big tub. Now, one of the features that I actually love the most about this truck is the fact that you have a normal outlet available. I absolutely hate carrying around all these adapters and chargers that go on your cigarette outlet and gives you a normal outlet to plug your charger or whatever into. But no, they just skipped all that headache and gave you an outlet right here. Not only did they just give you that outlet, but you also had a USB-C. Now, with all the new technology coming out and USB-C becoming more standard, it gives you a good fast charging capabilities right there. Now again, you have more storage by your legs in the center console as well as the door, so you're not going to run out of storage space in this vehicle. Now the steering wheel overall is nothing overly exciting going on here, but I can't really complain about anything. That being said, one thing that they kind of messed up on is the heated steering wheel feature. Now 90% of the heat actually goes on at the top, whereas there's only a little bit of warmth along the sides. So unless you're driving one-handed, you're not going to really benefit from it. Now with Chevy's new infotainment system, I have to say I'm not a big fan of the way that they laid it out. It looks almost like a kid's toy with the bright colorful circles, and it just, I don't find overly appealing. At the end of the day though, it doesn't really matter how it looks as long as it functions okay, which I would say it does. There definitely is a little bit of delay, but it's not as bad as I've seen in other cars. Now, when you throw the truck in reverse, just like normal, you have the backup camera come on the display. But one of the highlights of this truck for me is the fact that you have 3 different camera angles, or 3 different overlays, so to speak. So to start off with, you will have your regular, normal backup camera that you would see in any other car. If you hit the second one, it'll turn the overlay into a single line that gives you a little bit of a target when you're trying to line up a hitch. Now, if any of you guys have ever tried hooking up a hitch with a truck without a backup camera, let alone these 3 different modes, it is a nightmare. Now, things get really interesting though when you hit the 3rd mode, because that changes to a bird's eye view looking straight down over top of the hitch. Now, when the trailer gets in the vicinity of where it needs to be, you can hit that mode and you can do all your precise movements without ever having to leave the cab. I absolutely love what Chevrolet did with the layout of the main console here. The digital displays over top of the manual buttons is a really nice effect. Also, the actual buttons below with the more of a switch format look really cool and are very simple and easy to use. So this being a double cab, obviously we need to take a look at the back. So I can't get over at how much leg room the people have in the back here. I'm a tall person for the most part, and my legs can almost go straight out. I almost think there's an unnecessary amount of space back here. Like, there's no way you'll ever use all of this. Again, props to Chevy for a well thought out design, because they actually gave the people in the back a USB and a USB-C charger. So you don't have cords running from the front of the truck all the way to the back like before. Now, not only have they given you the standard storage options underneath the back seats, but they've actually gone ahead and given you a little secret compartment. So another well thought out design feature that Chevy's included is for the ability to actually turn down the back seat headrests. Now, this makes backing up much easier, especially if you don't have anybody in the back seat anyways. You can keep it down and have a good range of sight. So overall, I have to say I'm really impressed with what Chevy has done. Now, if I were to ever buy a full-size truck, I wouldn't buy one with 4 doors. That being said, it's nice to see that they're putting this much thought into all the features to make your life a little bit easier while you're behind the wheel. So let's hop back in the car with Marcus and finish up the review.
Another thing Chevy has done that they're actually quite proud of, I'm not sure why, but they actually have very rounded fender arches now for the wheels, or the wheel wells, I guess you would call it, when compared to the outgoing like square ones. So especially with the Trail Boss package lifted as it is, it looks pretty dope. It looks great. All right, so the Z71 package gives you a few things. First off, it gives you skid plates. Very important. If you're ever gonna go off-road, skid plates are very important. They're gonna save your truck, right? You get a low-range transfer case as well with your 4x4, which is crucial for off-roading and towing a trailer, obviously. And then you get a automatic locking rear differential. It is a little bit harsh on the street. It's a little bit harsh off-road as well. It's a little bit more dedicated to off-road than any of the other Silverado 1500 models. So you really gotta want a dedicated off-road truck to go with the Trail Boss package. That, and it is quite a little bit more money. The Z71 is what you want though. You definitely want 4x4. That's a given, right? Especially if you're going to be off-roading, towing in the rain, anything like that. But that's basically it. So the Trail Boss is a package if you just want that like extra little bit of ground clearance and usability if you're actually going to be using your truck off-road. It's, on the street, it feels a little bit roly-poly-oly, a little bit sloppy. Now, some of that might have to do with these beefier tires that you get with the Trail Boss package as well, or it might just be the nature of the beast, who knows. But other than that, I don't know if it's good value necessarily for what you're getting, especially with the only 355 horsepower you get with this, $470,000 Canadian. If you want the extra ground clearance and the beefier tires and stuff, it might be the option for you. All right, so 4x4 high. Very quick acceleration on gravel, great traction. There's a little bit more body roll than I would like, to be honest, especially if you have like a a lot of stuff in the bed. You got some added weight. That's even, you know, it's going to be accentuated even more in the corners. So just as a, I guess, a warning for you guys or whatever, that's kind of what it feels like. The steering's good. It's very light, very easy for daily driving. But again, it does, you know, it's got some pitch to it. It's got some dive. Throttle's pretty sensitive. It's got lots of torque. It's got the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm going to be honest, not the most responsive gearbox. Now, I don't know actually how much that has to do with the cylinder deactivation. Like if you're cruising along at 80 kilometers an hour and you're only running on 2 cylinders, and then you floor it, it takes a second to kick down. I mean, it might have to kick down 5 gears to get you into a spot where you actually have usable torque to power away. It's not the most responsive gearbox. It will be hunting for gears some of the time. But, you know, other than that, it's fine. It's a good transmission. The engine and transmission work well together, and I think the 8-speed is just best at getting you better fuel economy. I definitely don't think it needs 8 gears. Absolutely not. But, yeah, I don't know. You can also just stick it in low and then pick the gearing yourself. Anyways, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed this quick look at the 2019 Silverado 1500 Z71 Trail Boss. Like I said, fully spec'd out truck. It's got all of the bells and whistles that you can pretty much get with this new 1500. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit me up on Instagram if you want to check out everything we're doing on a day-to-day basis behind the scenes, what we're filming, what we're driving. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're a truck guy, what you think of the look of this truck especially, and then all these new capabilities you get with these various packages as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.